Okay, so welcome to the 25th edition, and that'll be our last call for this year. And then next year, we'll shift the time maybe half an hour before to kind of adjust the time schedule based on the weather. So let's go through the normals as it's the last call of the year. Here's our summary how we started this year in June, and things are going pretty well. As I said, till the point there is one person whom I can talk to, I'm okay, keep hosting these sessions, but we'll see how it goes next year. Just an update. If you haven't seen Eric's video about the Christmas special, he's giving away his e-copy of the field book using this link. You just need to go and register there with your email address, and then 10 lucky winners will get the ebook copy of the field guide. I'll share the link in the chat as we go forward. Go ahead, watch the recording on YouTube. And I guess Dhanraj said your question was there, and he did try to answer that. So see the recording to see your answer also. And I'll share the link in the chat for if you want to
Last time
participate.
you're talking about last time, right?
Yeah, on
I
that he did
I
on the
saw the
Christmas.
recording last recording.
Okay. Yeah, so here's the link, Shahid and Jignesh, if you want to kind of uh, participate into the giveaway, just go there, add your email address, and if you're selected, you'll get the e-copy of the field guide on January 1st. The other announcement is about DynamicsCon. They are still requesting people who want to present. There is a 25% reservation for people who are presenting for the first time. So if you'd like to present there, and I did that last year. It's easy, it's virtual, they do record your session, so you don't have to worry about recording and things like that. So you can go to the website on the submit your session, provides basic details of your company, your name, and job title, and then what type of session it is, what is the session title, a brief description of the session, and have you ever spoken or not. Based on this, you'll get a 25 reservation or not, and then your photo and your social media profilings. It's getting the last day is, I guess, on 30th. So if anybody here want to present, go ahead and register as presenter. And then there will be a voting that'll start from January 1. So if your session gets selected, you will be presenting in on March 16, 15th and 16th, I guess. Yeah, 16th to 18th March 2021. Okay. So let's talk about the normals. Those who will be watching this recording later, if they want to register, they can go to this link, register there. If anybody here who is not a default attendee can put their name and email address in the chat, and I'll make sure that they become default attendees going forward. Okay, coming to the questions, and the first question is from Shahid, and Shahid is here. And the question is how to track payment using jobs in Dynamics 365 Business Central, how to link job ledger entry to GL entry table to get payment for the job. Shahid, do you want to clarify? As in, I think I get part of it, but do you want to clarify before I answer anything on this?
Yeah, sure. Actually, in version 14, I don't know. I did not play it with other version, but in 14, if I add the job number in payment journal for giving payments or receiving from customer, so I cannot use the job number as it gives some error message or validations. that only a GL account can be used. We cannot use a vendor or a customer account. So that's not the issue actually I'm facing. So I need a solution because I need to track the payments, what payments are giving for the job, and also what payments are receiving from the customer.
So let me understand this, and anybody else can chime in into this. But I understand you as in jobs are linked to the customer, right? The
Yes,
whenever you create a job, you link it to a customer, and the payment will be done by the customer from the payment channel, right? You'll post that whatever the payment is received. Now, when the payment is received, then let's say you have an outstanding of $400 and the customer pays you $100 based on his payment terms, whatever they are. Now, that $100 during posting that payment, you can apply to one or more due entries which are pending to be paid. Now, that entry may have a job or may not have a job. So there is, what I'm trying to say is, there is never a one-to-one relation between your job ledger entry and a payment entry. Like you don't have a one-to-one relation between your item ledger entry and your payment entry. Because let's say if I sold an item of 10 quantity whose price in total of that invoice was $1,000. Now, if customer is paying me 500 and I'm partially applying it to that invoice also, so you cannot say that, oh, there were 10 quantities in this item ledger entry and 500 rupees was received. So half of this item ledger entry is paid.
that's true. But for job, actually, if you see, job is the top of all. So based on job, we are paying to several customers because that's the business logic actually. We are paying to several customers, and for one customers, we are, as you said, that we are getting maybe several times receiving the payments from customer based on the schedule, like a payment schedule. So just my idea is that like management wants that for a job there is some particular cost and some particular, I mean, billing or price. So like for the cost maybe 1 lakh, how much they have paid or how much they have received. So yeah, as you said, that there is no direct link,
Hi.
but if it will be very good to make a link using the job. That's my target actually, because I tried with the project and the customers, but it's not good.
Anyone else have any idea about it? Because the way I understand it, that once
Uh,
you create your jobs, yes, sir, you have anything to say? Go ahead.
yeah, so what I was saying is from jobs you will be creating WIP invoices, sales invoices, right?
Yes.
So those invoices, your application payment receiving will be applied to those invoices only, as Saurabh was also mentioning. So from
Yes.
job you will be creating invoices, work in progress or invoices, and against those invoices you will be receiving payment. So you can track how much is invoiced, how much is work in progress, how much has been done. So I think
Oh,
it will be
actually,
that.
I'm interrupting you. There is another point. I'm not using the WIP, what you just mentioned, work in progress. So, and the invoice, because when you give the sales, create the sales invoice for the job, for the customer, in the job ledger, you have the invoice numbers, but these are not linked even in the, I mean, in the payment receiving. So if even without job, if you can link this by document number, I mean the sales invoice number, then also it's possible, but it is not linked even. So
Yeah,
either
because
I need to. I'm talking a bit. I mean, relationship issue in database. But either I need to have the relationship between the invoice in job ledger and in GL entry, or directly the job number and the I mean job ledger and GL entry. But either one is not available according to my analysis so far.
Yeah, and as in to me, it doesn't make any sense. Like if I'm, from the job planning line, if I'm trying to create an invoice for these two lines, okay.
Yes.
So when you create a invoice, there are two options. That do you want to append it to an existing sales invoice, which means that there can be a way that you are selling some item at the same time you are adding some job lines into it. So that's also a possibility. So that's why the job number field on the sales invoice line, the sales line, is actually at the line level, not at the header level. So if you look it from how the ledgers are created, your customer ledger entry is created majorly based on your header info, which is also available on the lines. Whereas your GL entries are created based on your lines, whatever you are selling to your customer or whatever you are buying from your vendor. So lines creates your GL entry, and whose summarized view of the payment that need to be received from customer is created majorly on header. It never contains the line number, it never contains the item number, because those are child of that transaction. So when I create the sales invoice, I can have an existing sales invoice or a new sales invoice, like I did right now, a new sales invoice. So if I see here now, sales invoice and credit memo, I'll see that it created two. Now the invoice or the payment is against this customer. It is not against this particular line, because this line have the job number reference. If
Yes.
you zoom this line, you'll
Yes.
get a job number and job line number detail.
And one point I like to add, when we post this invoice, as you said, I get the job number in the GL entry. That's fine, very fine.
Right. Because it's in the lines. That's why you are getting it into the GL entries. If it is on the
Yes.
header, then you may get it also on the customer ledger entry, which makes no sense, because I can, system will not stop me if I try to sell item number something else which is not linked to a job. If I'm trying to sell this quantity one, I can still do that. So now this particular invoice is not only the job invoice. It I have two lines from the jobs and one normal line, right?
Yes. Yes.
Now whatever outstanding will be created after posting this is post that outstanding is for this customer for all the type of services that he utilizes from me, not only from the job. Are you getting me?
Yes.
It's completely unrelated what you are trying to do. As in, even if you reach to a point, the user can make an entry which can break your logic. There are complete possibility of doing this. So if I post this, it will create, based on the posting group of the lines, it will create one or multiple GL entries based on
Yes.
whatever the posting groups are there, right?
Yeah. Correct.
But there is no reference of that job posting group if you want to kind of bring in that, kind of link. So now if I look at this poster document, and where is that button now? Find entries. So you'll see it actually created 12 GL entries, against
Mhm.
which there is one customer ledger entry.
Right.
Because whatever happened on the GL entry, the total outstanding is created for one, for the customer with one entry, that this much need to be paid. Now, how much of this much is for job? There is no way to calculate it. It is the total amount that need to be paid. The remaining amount that is need to be paid.
Mhm.
Now, this amount came from 12 GL entry, 1 GL entry, or from 5 sales line or 1 sales line. It's irrelevant to add this to that logic. Now, because the payment will be applied to this, not to your GL entry, right?
Right.
Because I did add a separate item which was not part of the job.
Yes.
So these are two completely independent things. I don't think, and maybe I'm wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think that you'll be able to link this job ledger entry with the payment entry. Because when the payment will happen, there will be adjustment of the total amount which is pending here with an adjusting entry. That money is received, whatever the money is outstanding. So you'll not be able to do a one-to-one match between your job ledger entry or GL entry to your payment. Does that make sense?
Yes, but what could be the, I mean, most optimistic solutions? Because I need to.
I don't know, man. If you come up with something creative, let me know. But the way I understand NAV or Business Central is, I don't think that you'll be able to link these two entities. And whenever and I'll not stop you in doing whatever you're trying to do, but whenever you're trying to do, make sure that how many possibilities are there to break that chain. As I just give you an example about customer not paying that whole money in one transaction. He might pay 409 rupees and 70 paise at one time and then 1000 at the second time. Or maybe 500, 500 and 490.07. And maybe he pay 5 invoice total, whatever the outstanding for that customer in one go.
Actually,
So
in my cases, the exception you have shown, it will not happen actually. Whatever invoice lines are there must be payable, receivable from the customer, because that's the project how it's working here.
okay, if that's the case, and I'm just putting it based on that assumption, if that's the case, then you can get the related customer ledger entry that was created against that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Once you
Mm-hmm.
get this entry, then there is an action here about the applied entry to that to a particular
Document.
entry, right?
Yes.
Applied entries. And
Right.
the only application to this will be a payment or a return, right?
Yeah. But
So
here also, I'm just interrupting you. Here also, I mean, in the job, in the customer ledger or vendor ledger, because it's coming from here, there is no job number.
it will never be there. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. That's why I'm saying you that you need to go to the other route. If you are
Mm-hmm.
very sure that you will stick to the process that you are suggesting, then you can
Mm-hmm.
find this based on the GL entry, whatever the payment is against that invoice.
Mm-hmm.
Once you find that, then find the applied entry, which will be of type payment.
Mm-hmm.
And based on that, you can fetch that, okay, this is the payment received against this outstanding entry. So that's the only way. You'll
Yeah.
never be
Yeah.
able to take, as in, you can customize to take job there, but then during application, you can't do that because you'll have to customize it that the standard doesn't allow you to attach job number to a payment. Like the payments are not attached to a item, right? In the same way, they are not attached to a job or a resource or anything. Payment are against to a outstanding that is for a customer.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are very sure about it that what you are saying will follow as it is, then you can write your code to fetch the related entry to that particular applied entry to that payment, and based on that you can utilize that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's move ahead. And this is one of the interesting questions that took so much time today, which is from Aniket, and I don't see Aniket here, but it's a good, as in, I am pretty sure that
Can I
this will help.
interrupt you
Go ahead.
for
Yes, sir.
you talked about that presentation session just
Yeah.
before this question. So what sort of things can be topics can be included, and what is the duration of that presentation? So if you can talk about a bit more on that.
So Dynamics Con, there are five track this year, I guess. They also added GP, but there is Business Central, there is Microsoft Dynamics Nav. You can already see who have submitted in all these tracks, like Business Central, Customer Engagement, GP,
No,
FNO.
that's fine. My question is, within Business Central, is there any
No, there is no kind of any specific that you can talk about. You can talk about anything. The good part is that after January 1st, they will start the voting, and the most voted topics, what can fit in the schedule, will be available on that day. And these are 30-minute long session, pre-recorded. You just need to be
okay?
there live for Q&A. If you see, you'll find so many topics from different people from different kind of, like,
Topic.
everything, like top 25,
Right,
managing
right.
your AR, understanding drop shipment and special orders, top 20 things you should know in BC. So anything that you can think about, like Olister is
Okay.
talking about apps and functionality, and you can submit
Mm,
five topics, and out of those five, whichever gets most vote will be kind of be selected for that session. Like I have three, I guess, CAL to AL code.
AL to AL, modifying standard reports in Business Central, Git 101. Okay.
Right. So,
Sounds interesting.
right. So everybody has some topics. And AJ have some three, four topics, I guess. So
Yeah.
go ahead. Let's see. Once the voting start, we'll see how things goes.
Okay.
And everybody can submit five topics, so you can go and add five, and whatever is selected with the most vote, they will be available on that day.
Thank you.
Okay. So yeah, I was talking about this question. I was reading about this question today morning, and the first answer that I've written on my cheat sheet was, it's not possible. But then I actually thought about it, which is, what is the replacement of save file dialog as Business Central SaaS does not know the local directory, but user want to select a path where these Excel should be downloaded as a chosen path as it was on-premise version. So I'll start talking about the same thing first, which is that it's not a limitation of Business Central. It is actually the kind of behavior that a browser provides you. Like, it's just because the save file dialog was removed, it's not because Microsoft didn't want it to support it. It is because that the client is now on a browser, and it will follow the rules of the browser. So when you go to your Gmail or your Facebook, and if you download something, it automatically goes to the download folder. But then I thought about it, that on a web browser, is there is no one on this world who have done something to kind of place the files that I am downloading to a specific path. And I actually found something. So maybe you can use this. And that is an extension on either Google Chrome or Microsoft Chrome now, called Download Router. Now, Download Router is an extension. It's an extension on, and why? Okay, I cannot find it because I'm searching on Google, on Bing. Okay, Google India, and let me find it here. Download router.
Thanks, Saurabh. I have to leave. I
Okay,
have a call. Thank you.
not a problem. Okay, have a great day. Okay. Okay, so let me see why I cannot find the download router. I should be able to. Okay, download router extension, Google Chrome. Okay. So download router is an extension available for Google Chrome or for your Microsoft Chrome, wherever you are. And you can just go ahead and add that into your browser. And let me see how I do that here. Let me open my another browser window. Sometimes causes problem. Download router. Okay, this is Chrome. Okay. So once you go there, you can add that router into your Google Chrome or your Microsoft Edge as I'm using it. Once it gets installed, you get a window like this. Now this talks about how you should use this extension. And the first thing it talks about is that your all the downloads will actually go to your download folder, but you can do a little bit tweaking how you can manage that. So the first thing is creating is link, soft link between your directory in the downloads and on a different directory. So let's try to follow this and see how that works. So as you can see there, it says open your command prompt as administrator. I just did that here. And then it says create a symbolic link using this command, like mklink/d with the download folder path and wherever you want to place it. So what I'll do is I'll create a folder on my D drive and I'll call it my BC download. Okay, let me open that here. Here is my that folder where I want it to be mapped. And then I'll write the similar kind of command as it's given in that link, like this, which is link my local download, and I'm assuming that there is a folder BC with my D drive download, BC download. So once I create this link, you'll see a message that symbolic link is created between the C drive, your download path, with a folder BC, and anything that's there is actually getting stored into DBC download, which is this folder. Now, the other part of this extension is to set up the routing rules, and you can set it up on various ways, which is based on file type, file extension, and things like that. But just for this, because I want to link it to my Business Central tenant, I'll say that I'm doing a source domain mapping, that from this particular domain, anything that is saved actually goes to this destination folder. So I'll add a new routing rule. It says give me the URL. Don't include the HTTPS, www or anything, just the main URL. So my Business Central tenant is this. So I'll call this, and I'll also open this in the meantime. What I'm going to say is anything that comes from my BC172 URL, it need to go into this BC folder inside download. If you read here on the top, it'll say that by default, it's going to store in the download folder, and then you can use the folder that you're creating there, which is BC in my case. So if I right now open my downloads, there is a BC folder created based on this command, where I said C user download DC, which is symbolically linked to this D drive folder. So what I'm saying here, that anything that comes from this URL actually gets stored into this BC folder, and that's it. And then I'll save this config. That's saved. Let's try to download a file from Business Central. And we used this example last time of downloading the JSON. Let's use the same. So if you see, the file actually get placed here in my D drive BC download. So if I do a Excel, it's also getting there. And it's not just only from the purchase page. If I go to my sales order window and if I try to download this, it will also go and sit inside this folder. So that's kind of an tweak to if you want to place all your Business Central files into one specific folder into your PC and don't want to kind of put them or dump them into your download section, then there are two steps. As I said, first install this extension for your browser, read the user's instruction, and based on whatever operating system you're using, create the symbolic link the way I created here for Windows. There are commands for Linux and Mac also. Once the symbolic link is created, you can define the routing rules based on whatever you want. You want a particular file type, you can do that. You want a particular file extension, you can do that. And based on that, you can enable your mapping like I have done. So if I have two let's say I have one more Business Central environment, so I can do this. I'll have to create one more uh, symbolic link for BC1 to the path where I want to, and then update this, save your configuration, and that file will be placed automatically to that folder. Sahid and Jignesh or J Banerjee, does that make sense? Do you think it will be useful somewhere?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So yeah, this is the only option, Aniket, that I was able to find out for you based on your question. Uh, there is the only other way is that in your browser you can define that the file should not download automatically. It should wait for user to tell him where they want to download. So for that you can go to your browser settings, and then in your downloads you can define that ask me what to do with each download. So if you enable this, then it'll behave like kind of Internet Explorer, like they used to do in earlier, older versions. That when you download a file, it will give you a pop-up here. That do you want to open this file or save as? If you do a save as, it will open the default path, but you can change wherever you want to. So that's the only way, or I. These are the either or ways that you can use on Business Central SaaS, or not only SaaS, even on prem with the web client in picture. And it's not because of the Business Central change, it's because of the client change from a Windows client to a web client. Okay, so we have talked about this. Let's talk about Shahid's next question, which is how to apply payment approval in Business Central version 14. And Shahid, I don't know what's the difference between that and the latest version, but I think they are same. So, uh, can you tell me what is the problem, and then maybe I'll be able to tell you the correct way.
Actually, I found the way. Uh, like just like before questions when giving payments to vendor. So like paying 1 lakh taka to ex vendor. So I need to get approval for that 1 lakh.
Okay.
So like in purchase order, we get the approval.
Right.
And same way for the payments, I like to get the approval of paying this some amount to vendor.
Okay, so you should be able to set that up. Let's see on the workflows, and it is pretty same as Business Central 14. I don't have that installed, but let's see. So when you go to the workflows and try to get a new workflow from the template, you can actually choose the batch approval on the journal batch approval under the finance. Okay. Once you select that, it'll build the template for you. Once the template is in place, you need to filter out for which batch you are doing this. So like I'm trying to do it, as you said, for the payments. And then let me see my batch name. Payment journal. And the batch name is cash. So let's suppose I want to set this up on cash. So if I do it here as cash and then hit OK, so then approval of batch is requested for cash and template payment, and then it'll check things and like this. The only thing that you'll have to change is balanced or not. That you need to set what type of approval it is. You can't use a approval chain in this case, or neither the salesperson purchaser. And the reason is because the code is not like this. You can either do a direct approver, that if X is sending it, then it goes to Y and things like that. Or you can use the workflow user group.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Once you have the workflow user group, let's create one test. And then inside this, let me pull up this and add some users if I can. And then I can define here the usernames that I want. I might not have multiple users in my system, or maybe none other than me. But I can define this, that he's the approver with sequence number 1.
And then this hierarchy actually we can maintain here, right? Like if several approver using the
That
group.
works based on the sequence number. So if
Yes.
the 2 users are added with same sequence, then either or. If
Mm-hmm.
sequence number are 1 and 2, then first and then second approver.
Okay. Okay.
Right? Once that is done, you can click this OK and you can enable this. Now, any payment that you make from the cash batch will require an approval. And as it's a batch level, it will check only the batch when you're trying to post a batch. So if I do a payment to a vendor, 1,000 of $10, and if I try to post this, I should get that you need to approve this, get this approved. Okay.
Can you customize this message?
Can you customize this message? I'll have to check. Maybe. No, because these are hard coded more or less. There is no event at this place where you can change this. But you can surely kind of have a separate message after this, that this line requires approval once that message comes up.
Just override this.
This will pop as an in Dynamics BC14 CAL. Maybe you can do that, but I'll not recommend it. I'll say let this pop up once user clicks OK, then show them a message, that this line requires approval, right?
Okay.
But that'll be more future ready code to see that. Okay, so yeah, using this, I would
I
not
have
recommend. Go ahead.
I have one question actually. Like approver, when approver approving that, they can change the amount even. And like my idea is that like you are paying some amount, so approver maybe he is decreasing some amounts. So I like to input those value as well. Like because my requirement is that I account department provided a payment approval for 1 lakh, but the approver he suggested to give 90,000. So this 10,000 less I need to show in the report. So what can I do, or what you suggest?
So what you can do is you can have a kind of a separate field on the table
Mhm,
that any time the amount is changed manually, and now that's the catch, that it can be changed by the user also, or it can be changed by the approver. So
mhm,
any time that amount is changed, the previous value is actually stored in a separate field, right? Like
mhm,
original amount kind of thing. So
mhm,
if the original amount was 1 lakh and the approver changed it to 80,000, the original amount field have 1 lakh.
mhm,
So, and then because if you want to report it before posting, then there will be a report that need to be ran. If it
mhm,
is after posting, because these are journals, then you'll have to either transfer that value till the GL entries that the original amount was this, and the user or the approver changed to this.
mhm.
And then you can report that this was the delta that was changed during the approval process. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, that was what I'm thinking. Let's see what I can do.
Okay, sounds good. So let's move ahead, and I guess this should be the last question, and this is one of the biggest question. And the question is from Josh, and Josh is saying that he cannot attend because of holidays, which makes sense. And he have 5 questions. Okay, let's go through one by one. Attachment endpoint in the standard API is pointing to incoming document, which makes sense. If a bespoke API page is developed, it will use most likely a table. However, the intention would be to have a file pass through the API to a desired target record. It would be possible to develop a broker type system where the API page uses the bespoken table in a temporary way and the attachment end up to the right record. Um, Josh, yes, that's completely possible. The only thing that we'll have to kind of take care in that temporary table per se is that it have the record reference stored in some way. So like if you are sending an attachment to a customer record, then you just need the primary key info of that particular record, which in that case would be customer number. But if you are sending a attachment to a sales line, then that's a multi-part key. So you'll need to have the document type, document number, and the line number. So how will you do that? Because there can be tables where the keys are okay, but yeah, there is a GUID on every table in Business Central for each record. So you can actually transfer that GUID with the table number to point to the right record. And once the data is uh, imported into that broker page or table where the attachments are stored, then you can write a job queue, which then can move those records into the actual tables. And if you would like, maybe in the next meeting, I can do a quick demo on it. The second one is if a sales written order has line level attachment and a purchase written order is created from the sales written order, can the line level attachment be passed to a sales written order? Passed to the sales written order. Okay. Yes, that will be possible based on some custom code. Okay, and then the next one is using the report inbox as an example where it has a standard detailed trial balance stored. If there is a large XLS stored, is there can't be passed as base 64 via JSON to an endpoint. Yes, base 64 have certain size limits, and I'm not very sure. I did check about that because somebody else also had the similar kind of question. And I guess the file size limit with the base 64 is 50 MB. So yes, if that's very long, big file, then it's not possible to pass it with base 64 to the outside world. How to handle creating a zip which contain related PDF while sending an email, example being a customer statement and then sending related overdue invoices. That's interesting. Um, let's do this one, the zip file one, in the next meeting. I'll make sure I have an example ready about that. I was also on holiday and went through the questions way earlier, but I'll make sure that we cover this in the next one. And then if you can make to the next call, then we can decide what else we should talk from these points into the coming meetings. The last one is create a page which shows all attachment related to the master record. For example, customer attachment can be made on the customer record, but then all the documents to sales, jobs, service, and etc. Okay, so for this one, I think Eric Hogward have a app available on App Source which stores all these attachments into SharePoint, and then the extension gives you a flexibility to even get the records from the master record into the transaction table if you need. So I'll surely reach out to Eric Hogwart to see what capabilities, and I'm pretty sure these capabilities are there to make attachment available from the master record to the transaction records. But if you know, if I'm misreading it, we can surely talk about it into the next meeting. Okay, so this was the last question of this year on PC Open Discussion. So, anybody have any questions? Let me go through from top to bottom. Jay Banerjee, any questions, sir? And if you're speaking, you're mute. Okay, Jignesh, you have any questions?
No, sir, bro. Thank you.
Okay, Shahid.
One question actually. Maybe you have shown it before. When approving like purchase order or payment, I need to set up the notifications.
Okay, you need to set up the notifications. So the way it works for the notifications is the workflow notifications are processed via job queues. Okay, so whenever you have a business central, either business central 14 or higher, you'll always get a entry here by default for delegate approval request. This gets created automatically, and this is set up for the delegation. But for setting up what type of notification you will get, you need to go to your approval user setup, and per user you can define, or they can define that they can set up what type of notification they want, which is in case of approval, I'll need to get an email, and when I want to get it, the user can decide here at the same time when it was created, or user have options to choose that I want to get one email in a day at a particular time on every weekday or daily, or they can set that I want to get one weekly, and then they can decide when they want it, or they can say that on a monthly basis on last work day I want to get an email notification. So based on their setup, whenever a approval notification is processed, that gets into a table called request notification entries, I guess. Let me see, notification entries. In this page, all the workflow notification entries are available with type, which is approval or new record, whatever the approval type you are using, who is supposed to get it, from where it is triggered, when it was created. And then there are, I guess there is one more page for this. And notification entry. So anything that is processed moves from here to this page that it was sent using whatever the method is. And anytime a notification is created, a job queue will automatically get added to process those notification. You don't have to do it manually. It will get set up automatically. Does that make sense, Ayed?
Yes, yes. If I don't say don't use mail, just the simple notification in, I mean, when they log into, I mean, Business Central.
Right, then it will come on your role center page fact box of my notification. So those are the two options. You can either choose email or you can choose the notes. So when you choose the notes, then that gets into your fact box and they'll not be sent as email to you. So there are three entries: approval mails, new record, which means when you activate your customer or vendor creation process, and then overdue if you have an overdue email, overdue approval. So that's how you define that here.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Anything else? To the last call of 2020.
Yeah. Thanks, Saurav.
Okay, guys, then see you then next year. Enjoy your new year.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Advance Happy New Year.
Okay, thanks. And we'll be changing some time for maybe a month or so. So we'll be moving this meeting half an hour earlier, which will be now from 9:30 to 10:30 India time. Okay, because of the winters, I'm just doing it. Once the winters are kind of get mild here, I'll start switching it back to the same time where we are.
Very good adjustment because it is late here.
How much is the time difference in comparison to India?
Dhaka and India, half an hour.
Half an hour. Oh, so you are already 11ish,
Yes,
11:30.
yes, yes.
Oh man, okay, that'll be good for you. Okay, yeah, there is not always a good time because people in this meeting join from different time zones, and it's very hard to get a time zone that suits for everybody.
Yeah, true.
Okay, okay, Jignesh, Jay Banerjee, and Zahid, thank you for being here
Thank you.
today, and
Bye.
see you next year. Thank you, and Happy New Year. Bye.
Happy New Year.